To me, this feels like a response to the last, since George Floyd, where there was so much conversation around empathy and inclusion. Like all of this is like essentially just like a switch of all of that to like go, but they're tired of having to have done any of that or trainings or what have you. So this is like essentially a backlash. I don't know, just from that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I had to read into a concerted effort to attack empathy, it would be because of what we're talking about today, and in many ways, that empathy allows you to step outside your own little teeny world and care about others. But that's not good if you care about things like white supremacy. If you're a trad wife and you want it to be like it was in the 50s or the 1880s or whatever, empathy for people that aren't like you in different situations in different parts of the country or parts of the world, that is not helpful to that cause. So we better come at that thing and make sure people realize that it's being weaponized against us. Um, one more, well, two more examples. One from present day. So we mentioned this article from Hillary Clinton. She talks about the day after Trump was inaugurated, he attended a prayer service at a cathedral in DC, and the Episcopal bishop there, her name is Mariann Edgar Budde, directed part of her sermon directly at Trump and said, "In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now." Sounds pretty, you know, fair, also kind, also who has a problem with that? Apparently, a lot of people. A Republican congressman said that she should be added to the deportation list because of that. Ben Garrett, who I don't know who he is, but he's apparently a pastor, said this snake is God's enemy and yours too. She hates God and his people. You need to properly hate in response. Nice pastor. Like, who's going to those sermons? And again, right wing podcaster, Beth Stuckey, who we just heard about, said the sermon had toxic empathy that is in complete opposition to God's word and in support of the most satanic, destructive ideas ever conjured up. So let me just get this straight. Uh, Asking to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared is, what did I say? That is in complete opposition to God's word. I mean, what in the world? And then there's a survey quoted in there that said 40% of Christian nationalists agree that empathy is a dangerous emotion that undermines our ability to set up a society that is guided by God's truth. So, um, again, we need some history, Des. One thing that's super interesting, they're listening, right? They're listening to everything, listening on all the tools and all the apps. Can't be a coincidence that as I was researching this, my TikTok feed served up a video of a documentary of Kent State, which is interesting for two reasons. One, Kent State is clearly a touch point for the turning of the public tide against Vietnam. Also, four white students who were killed, right? So again, it took four white kids to be killed for that to go as big as it did. But this was about interviews with men and women on the street after, and one of them is they're all mind blowing. But these two young women, they have to be in their 20s. And the interviewer says, "Do you think the guard, meaning National Guard, was justified?" And she says, "Yes. And I'm just sorry they didn't shoot more." And he says, "Why?" And she said, "They were told to move out of there and they didn't." So maybe that woman grew up to be the mom on Necessary Conversation because it's the same shiz.